Welcome to Essential Ingredients, powered by NextGen Purpose. EI serves up thoughtful conversations with industry leaders and pioneers who support a regenerative future for our food system. The stories shared by our guests are meant to spark curiosity and inspire informed global change. Welcome to Essential Ingredients. I'm your host, Justine Reichman. Today with me is José Guerrero, and he is the founder of Anima Project. So welcome, Jose. I'm so pleased to have you here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's such an honor for me to be here talking with you.
And meeting with you. I've heard such wonderful things. I've read such wonderful things, and I'm so eager for you to share with our community a little bit about yourself and what the Anima Project is. So if you would, let's go right in. Tell us, what is Anima Project?
So Anima Project is the desire of a revolution. I want to start like that. I always been a big dreamer since I was a kid. You know, I remember when I was in the school, I always was telling my mom, like, I want to have a Ferrari when I am big, you know, like when I grow up and I want to have a Ferrari, I want to be famous. I don't know. I always was a big dreamer, you know, and I grew up in Colombia. In a family that is middle class, you know, like normally these kind of families, they cannot afford the education that I had. So the first thing that I want to highlight is that all my education and everything that I did was with the scholarships, and it was a product of a huge effort, you know, like I don't came from a rich family, and I have been in the best education, I've been in the best opportunities, and I feel proud of that. And that makes me what I am, like is a dreamer. I always been following my dreams, and I always say that if a man or a woman lose the capacity of dreaming, they lose the life, you know. So this is like my guiding star since the beginning. So
it's important to dream. Dreaming,
Anima,
it gets me up every day.
Yeah. So Anima is the materialization of a dream. How it started? So it started almost around 5 years ago, like the baby idea in my head, growing here like a origin. And it won because I always been working with the R&D part in restaurants. You know, I've always working with creativity, creation of knowledge, creation of experiences, new things of the restaurant. I always try to push the restaurant to be more than a plate on a table. And that led me to work always in R&D departments, but always in kitchens. Since 5 years ago, I decided to come out of the Michelin stars world, and I wanted to be an impact maker, you know, because another dream I always had was like, I don't want to leave this world without a mark. I always want to leave my mark here, and I want to improve people's life. You know, I have this obsession that always that I speak with somebody or I do experience for somebody, I want to improve their life or help them to improve at least a small step their life. So 5 years ago, I dedicated myself to research. That was my way of helping the gastronomy to improve. And then I traveled to Spain. I started working in a restaurant called Azurmendi in research and development. Then I moved to Barcelona. I was working with Albert Adrià, that is the brother of Ferran Adrià, in a very beautiful group of restaurants that he has, very, very creative. And then I joined the Master of Science in Gastronomy, and that was like the bomb, like the detonation of everything, because I joined the Basque Culinary Center in Basque Country, north part of Spain. And there my mind just blew up, because then I was coming from a kitchen, my language was kitchen, my creativity was kitchen, experience and ingredients. And then you came to this master where there is people from economics, from medicine, from artists, from design, and you start talking, you know, and you start watching that your world goes more than the point of your nose, you know, and you start getting I started getting a lot of inspiration, a lot of different ways to work on gastronomy. And I was understanding that the gastronomy can talk so many languages that people never imagine that, you know. Usually you say to a person, I do the gastronomy, oh, you eat very good, you travel a lot, and you work in a restaurant. No, there is a lot of things you can do. And then we did a lot of research projects. We worked with blind people. We worked with several projects, nutritional projects that helped people. And there started the idea of Anima growing, you know. And not under that name, but my idea was to create something to make impact. You know, at the beginning, I just wanted a platform to make impact in people's life and in gastronomy. You know, I wanted to improve
Jose, when
gastronomy.
you launched this company, you had come from the restaurant business as a chef in the kitchen, and you decided to leave the kitchen, so to speak, to go do
Yes,
research and development. And you decided you wanted to do impact-driven work. You wanted to make an
yes,
impact, and you wanted to start a revolution. What
yes,
was this
yes.
revolution
Basically,
you wanted to start? What was
so
the specific impact you wanted to make?
so I came from kitchens. Kitchens is a very tough environment,
A
and
very
this was my
toxic?
first
Toxic?
tough, a very hard environment. You
Oh,
know,
hard. Sorry. Okay, hard environment.
because usually the people works a lot of hours. They are always angry, over caffeinated, tired, and normally way the relationships are not the most kind. And the chefs, old school chefs, are always screaming with their people, and there is a way of working that usually we tend to think that we are machines. So my first drive-in for making a revolution was this. I said, we are not machines, we are humans, and we should understand that we are working with humans. So I wanted to create a movement, or I wanted to create something that the people can see that there is somebody thinking different, that there is somebody that wants to make a step to the left and say, I don't want to continue this line of kitchens, of hostile kitchens. So I wanted to change that in the mind of the chefs. You know, I wanted to
You
start
wanted to
working with
change the environment in the kitchen.
yes, I
Wanted
wanted
you
to change
the
the
environment.
environment, and also to show the people in the kitchen that you can take your career more than the kitchen, that with knowledge, with research, you can learn, and then creativity comes from knowledge. You know, creativity is not magic that just appear when you wake up in the morning. Creativity appears because you have knowledge, because you have cultivated, you have created some knowledge. And I wanted to show this to the people. Since I entered to science, I started understanding a lot of scientific methods and a lot of ways of thinking that was applicable to the kitchen process. And I wasn't
ways of thinking that you integrated.
No, for example, the ways how science make hypotheses, that normally way there is always a research process behind. You know, normally way in the kitchen, most of the processes that a chef does is for trial and error. You know, and most of the processes are not standardized. Most of the processes are not measured. So all of this is creation of knowledge. When you start understanding what happened behind the ingredients that you use, when you start standardizing that methods and understanding, for example, a simple thing like fermentation. You know, right now it's super easy to talk about that, but let's say 5 years ago it was like a hidden word, fermentation, because the people didn't understand the metabolic groups of bacteria. They didn't understand the processes, the food safety. Now they understand, and then the creativity appears. You know, so I wanted to start implementing these methods on creative processes in the kitchen, and I wanted to standardize this to the kitchen. You know, like working like a bridge between science and gastronomy and restaurants. So
I'm wondering, how was it before when you were there? So this is not ordinarily, this is not part of the process in the kitchen, you're saying.
Normally when you, there is different kinds of kitchen. You know, there are the kitchens that you see always in the world's 50 best or in the Michelin guide, that are dream kitchens, where they have tons of technology, they have 40 people teams, you know. And in these kitchens, normally way the processes are very advanced, and they do research. They have resources to have chefs traveling around the world. But these restaurants, let's say, are only 50, because that's why there is the 50 best guide, you know. But in the world, there is so many restaurants that normally way the restoration becomes a business, you know. So always you are thinking operational, you know, like how the line of production goes, how the recipes creation is. So how is the recipes creation? The plate that is more selling, so that's the best, you know. And how recipes appear, because trial and error. What happens if I put, let's say, I don't know, ketchup? What happens if I put lobster stock? You know, what happens if I put lemon? You know, like and most of the processes are not understandable, you know, like there is, for example, fermentations, a lot of kitchens, but there is no food safety on that fermentations, you know.
Mhm.
So I think that it's a key factor to start understanding this in kitchens that are not capable to work on the scale like the best 50 world restaurants. And I
Before you
wanted to
go
make
on,
it.
before you go on, I'm curious, and I didn't want to cut you off, but so once you instituted this, or now that you're instituting this in some restaurants, what kind of impact have you seen? And
It's
is it,
beautiful because
and is it well received?
the third revolution, I already told you about the two revolutions in Anima, the revolution of knowledge and the human revolution. But there is a third revolution, or the third ideal, and it's accessibility. You know, I've been fighting all my life with accessibility. You want to be well educated, you have to pay a lot. You want to be in the best restaurant, you have to work, speak with these people. You have to win a prize, you need this friend. One of the main things I want to do in Anima is to put the knowledge accessible to everybody. And this is the main impact that the people have feel it on them. Because the first restaurant I was doing this, they never imagined that it was so easy to start adapting these processes and to start working on these methods. And they was thinking that you need a $10 million R&D department to do this. And it was amazing. It was amazing because at the beginning you speak and it's like a funeral, you know, like there is so much information
Right.
than the people, there is no feedback, you know, and you just see the face of the people. It's like their mind is just collapsing, you know. Then the second meeting is the same, you know. And then the third meeting, there is one guy in the bottom that is encouraged to make a question. And that's amazing because when they start making questions, they start connecting things in the head. They start asking questions, and this is the best. So it's a beautiful impact because then the people becomes more productive, and the people start enjoying the profession, you know, because of course there is the long hours and the long the hard work behind the kitchens. When there is this beauty part where when we make meetings between the chef, between the sommelier, between the head of the service, and they already have the creative method on the head already installed. So it's beautiful how the people start growing and growing, and they start creating a curiosity and a state of curiosity, and they start looking for more answer and questions and answers. And this is beautiful. This is beautiful because before they just was thinking in producing, which is the best. Okay, this is the top seller. Let's do this during 10 years and don't change because then we're going to lose money. Or maybe we don't have time to think. But then when you organize your team, when you organize your time, when you organize your resources, then there is a lot of time to think, to stop, to rethink, to redesign. And it's beautiful, that impact when you see. One of the main restaurants you can see that is here in Budapest. Is one of the most traditional restaurants because in 3 years became one of the most risky and innovative restaurants because of these kind of practices, because they were working 10 years under the same umbrella, under the safety zone. And then one day I arrive and I start asking questions, you know, and then they start asking questions as well, and they start looking for answers for the questions, and then that takes the restaurant to another level.
So I'm
So
curious,
that's,
but why Budapest? Why is Budapest the place to have this revolution?
I think
And
Budapest
you're
is the
from
perfect.
Colombia, right? And
Yes, yes.
there's food scene, food is evolving in so many different cities. And we see, I think there could be a revolution in a lot of different places, but I know you're passionate and you believe Budapest is the place. So I'd love to hear why.
So basically, I arrived to Budapest because of COVID. In my case, I have the beautiful pleasure that COVID for me was an opportunity I was in Spain working with in a laboratory in the digital gastronomy lab. This is a place where you combine technology with science and food. And then it came the COVID, and the Spanish government say, okay, we're gonna close the country tomorrow. And I was there with my girlfriend that she's Hungarian, and we was like panic, you know, because we are there alone. We are just studying and working. And then I said, okay, my family is in Colombia, 11 hours, 1,200 euros. And her family was at 2 hours of plane and 90 euros of plane. So the decision was easy. Let's go to your family. We don't want to be alone. So we came to Budapest. Of course, the first month was quarantine. And I got crazy in the first 3 weeks doing nothing. So my girlfriend's father, he's restaurateur. He has 2 restaurants. And I said, listen, I want to work. I want to wash the dishes, whatever, but I want to do something. So he knew my background and he said, okay, here are the keys of my restaurant. Here is my team. Do whatever you want. Basically, that was the trust, you know, like do whatever you want. And with that huge responsibility, I start creating a plan, you know, like, okay, let's do a fast training. This COVID is nothing. It's going to finish in 1 month and we are back in Spain. Okay. So I designed a 1 month training. So the 1 month training ended 3 years now. So then when I started that training, of course, the quarantine was softer and we could go out. And we was able to go out. So I start traveling across the country and I start discovering what is in here, and I start discovering beautiful things, and I got in love with the country. And then there was one day that I said, this is the perfect country for a revolution, because it's a country that it's been doing the things during the past 10, 15 years in the same way. And there is so much people and so much talents that they want to do different, but they just don't know how, or they just, nobody's there to push them to do the things different, you know? And I start discovering this potential, that there is a lot of talents here, a lot of beautiful people with beautiful knowledge. And I say, this is the perfect place for a revolution, you know. There is all the things set, you know. There is the people, there is the desire of doing the revolution, and there is the meanings as well. And the government is very supportive with these kind of things, you know. And also now the politics of the Hungarian government, the efforts are on putting the Hungary on the map, you know. This is like the main politic now. So I think the scene is set, all is set. Just needs I don't know, somebody who say, okay, look, your country is amazing, let's do something for it. And that's how I just stay here. I took the decision of staying here. I started working in the restaurant, and then at the second year appears I said, okay, let's build a platform here, the platform that I've been dreaming during the past 4 years. Let's do it here. So it appears as a research and development project.
Is there a technology included with this platform, or is this the training when you talk about a platform?
So what happened is that I decided to found the project, and then I found the name Anima, because Anima means soul in Latin. For me, the soul of everything is the knowledge. As Anima is a project of research and development, we try to create knowledge, and it's multidisciplinary. So we create knowledge for chefs and for gastronomy and for food industry. So that's the anima of everything. This is the soul for starting anything. So then appears also the opportunity of building a test kitchen, a kitchen that is a laboratorium, that it's like an hybrid between a professional kitchen and a biochemistry laboratory and physics laboratory, we can say also that. So there is machines from the chemistry environment, there is machines from kitchen, there are other machines that I built it with my own hands. And all of this, with these things, just to create an environment to create knowledge, to create a perfect environment so people can come to here, and we, with multidisciplinary talking, we can create knowledge and we can share it.
Wow.
So then the Anima project take more shape. Wow. Excuse me?
And as you grow, what can we expect to see in the next few years?
So basically, we are just 1 month, 1 or maximum 2 months to open this place. So with the opening of this place, it's gonna be a huge growth because then there is something tangible, you know, and sometimes the people needs to see something that they can touch to believe, you know. So this place is gonna have several capabilities, you know, like for example, there is a dining room for 12 people, and in front is the kitchen. So basically, I want to start creating experiences where all the research that we do becomes an experience, you know. So there is 3 ways of working. The first way is co-creation. That is when I partnership with companies and we create the food of the future. And then there is the second way, that is research projects, like the one that we have on plant-based proteins, that just look, is an effort to make impact on gastronomy and in humans' life. And that's why we work with neuroscience, we work with sensory perception, with microbiology. There is several research lines. And then there is the experimental part where all of this research becomes funny, you know, and becomes accessible for everybody, you know, because if I go to a farmer's house with all of this bunch of research, he gonna say, okay, thank you very much. I don't want to give donations. So I always believe that an experience is an impacting way, you know, and an accessible way. So all of this research becomes experience. So all the things that we discover, that we co-create, goes to an experience. And I want to do pop-ups, you know, pop-ups of different things, like plant-based pop-ups or pop-ups, cultural pop-ups as well. I want to bring people to my kitchen. I want to visit their kitchens and just make a cultural exchange, a knowledge exchange, multidisciplinary approach.
So when are we going to
So
see
we
you
have
here in San
one.
Francisco?
Excuse me?
When are we going to see you here in San Francisco or New York? Or what are you going to do?
Oof.
Pop up in different
I
cities?
really looking forward to go to America. America is always a beautiful market for these kind of things. Actually, I'm planning a trip to Los Angeles on February next year. So I'm gonna be very close to San Francisco, and I really want to start knocking some doors there in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, in that area, because also is my favorite part of America.
Well, and to that end, let me just circle back to something. You know, with the future food tech, it would be quite a nice collaboration to have a little pop-up at the future food tech, whether it's in London in the coming months or whether it's in San Francisco. I'm just throwing it out there as ideas.
Just throwing up some couple of ideas. I am open.
Listen, I don't, hey, the next time you talk to Isabella or somebody at Future Food Tech, run it by them. Maybe that's a fun idea. You could do like a pre-event dinner.
One of our main targets with Mario is doing that, creation of experiences, because he understands the human across neuroscience, and I understands the joy of being human, you know. So when we combine all of that, we take the research and we make experiences just for these people, and for understanding what is behind the research, and which is the future of the food, you know. Like, we are always trying to discover, okay, which is the future. We try to live 1 year ahead, 2 years ahead, to discover what is coming next.
Because I know you did go to Future Food Tech recently, and I'm just curious, was there anything in the Future Food Tech Alternative Protein Summit this year that stood out to you?
Oh, it was a lot of things. It was a couple of emotions in this. For me, it was quite special because it was the first time of being on a stage, you know, on a congress like this. So it was a beautiful experience. Also, across all the networking and all the people you can meet, there is beautiful people, and it's like I love these kind of things, because when you are working in these projects like mine, you think you are the best in the world, you know, like I am the most advanced, I am doing everything. Look, I am super technological, I have a lot of friends. Then you came to a congress like this and they slap you in your face and says you're nothing. There is more interesting people than you, you know. And this is beautiful. This is beautiful because you start, it's nice to see what is happening in the world. It's nice to see how the world is evolving, and how much beautiful people there is out there wanting to change what we've been doing until now, you know. And there is a lot of people who wants to improve human life. So we met a lot of beautiful projects at the Future Food Tech, a lot of beautiful minds. I remember so much, and a person from India, he came to us in a very funny way because he was presenting a new sugar, a new sugar base, and then we ended talking about bioreactors, and the guy was developing an accessible ways to laboratories can have a bioreactor that is super expensive, and this guy was making more accessible. And this really marked me because this guy was brilliant, you know, just speaking to him and so much knowledge behind him. He was a chemistry engineer.
Wow.
And then there was a lot of young people doing beautiful projects, hamburgers, startups. I remember some girls doing pizza with a new cultural cheese that was amazing. Talk with them. They were super interesting and doing experiences together as well. Because one of the things that I took from that Congress is like these startups are really looking forward to collaborate with chefs. And they want to see how many languages their product can talk, you know, how many, because normally way they create a culture cheese and the immediate thinking is, okay, let's put over a pizza. But then we take it and we say, okay, it's not only the pizza, we can put it here, we can do this, we can pair with this wine, we can also take it here. So then when you connect, it's starting a lot of beautiful experiences with this startup that is creating beautiful products.
Well, it
So
sounds
this
like
was like an impact.
experience too for these products.
Yeah, it's very important. It's very important to create experience, and it's very important because these plant-based products, I think, it's a revolution. You know, it's a way of people saying to the world, we want to be different. We want a better world. We want to stop climate change. We want to protect our animals. We want to protect our health. We want to improve as a human being. And it's also hard to change people's tradition, you know. It's also hard to change people's mind, and that's why the experience is very important, because all of these products that are developing in laboratories always end as an experience on the supermarket or at your place. Right. Always. And if that experience is not good at the first time, you're gonna go back to the meat and you're gonna say, why I want to change if I am happy, if I am enjoying this. So it's very important to understand that things that you are creating, it's also important that the people have to enjoy, you know. It's not just creating a plant-based product just because it's healthy. Because if it's only because it's healthy, the people will not take it, because the people love meat. Even me, you know, I love meat. And that's why also we presented a transitional product, because we say, okay, the world is not binary. Now you go to the supermarket, you see or plant-based or fully meat products. But where are the products that help me to make a transition, you know, that doesn't sacrifice the taste of the meat, but also I'm reducing a percentage my consumption, you know. So yeah, it's very important. I think the experience creation or the experience thinking, the experience design on here.
I would agree. I think it's super important to consider this. I think I mean, there's an event happening next week, I think, or a week and a half, called Mindful Eating Film Festival that Yoko from the Yoko's Creamery is putting on. And she has a Fundación Compasión. And it's all about treating animals in a compassionate way. So I think there's a lot of education that's going on that's necessary. And I think plant-based eating is part of it, but I also think it's about the way we treat animals. I mean, I had one of the co-founders on from Just that, you know, he got into Just from an experience he had learning about how chickens were treated. You know, so all these different things and how we can amplify people's stories and share them with the community so people can learn how animals are being treated, and so people can make a choice. And I'm not trying to tell them what to do, but just to share these stories so that people can hear them and make a choice for themselves on what they're going to do next. Whether it's about
and just that, you know, like I had a very impactful experience that I want to share, and that's one of my biggest driving passions. Is like last year Christmas I was in Norway. You know, I have a project with the fishermen of king crab in the North Pole. So I was really in the northern point in the earth. And I was in the vessel fishing with these people, and then we came back. I took the sleep, blah, blah, blah. It changed the day, and there was the next morning, and around 10 o'clock in the morning, I came out to make a walk, and I see a table, okay? And it was the middle of the winter. The table was full of snow, and there was a water drop, and the snow was melting. You know, in the North Pole, the snow was melting. I checked temperature, and we are plus 2 degrees centigrade. And I said, okay, we are in the North Pole. This snow is melting, and we are positive 2 degrees. This is not good at all. You know, this is not good at all. I am not freezing. And when you see these kind of things, for me, it's shocking. You know, normally when you live in these cities like Budapest or New York, you think that you have everything easy. You go to the supermarket, you get the apple. You go to, I don't know, anywhere, you get anything. When you live in the North Pole, you see this, and then you see that the people cannot get food for feeding. It's quite shocking. And then you start thinking, okay, I want to make an impact on this war. You know, I want to improve where it's been until now. And also New York, another thing that was shocking for us was like we were there to face the industries, you know, and to face the way how they are thinking, marketing strategies. I cannot say names, and I cannot say the people who saw our presentation. I think they are aware of what we did, but we were doing a big criticizing in our presentation about how the industries are thinking about design and food development.
Wow.
So it was shocking. It was a shocking experience in New York. It was a lot of learning, a lot of networking, a lot of beautiful projects and collaborations that now we are seeing.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to share all those stories with me. And I'm so glad that you were able to join the podcast and share the stories with the community. And I thank our guests for joining. It was great to have you on the podcast. So
thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. So if people want to get in touch with you or learn more about Anima, how would they do that?
So there is a website, of course. The website is www.dreaminganima.com, like dreaming soul, but with Anima. And also there is the Instagram platform that is Anima Project. You can find like that in Instagram. And usually I post all the updates about what we are doing. And also across the Timus network, they have a YouTube channel where we are filming documentary series about our work, you know, about what we do. So we are making very visual, and we are sharing a lot of videos and a lot of multimedia across YouTube and across several channels.
Wonderful. Well, we will make sure to share that in the show notes for those that are watching the video. And thank you so much. We will edit this and we'll send you everything so you have it all. And we'll make sure to share it. We hope you'll tag us in it. We'll tag you. And it was great to meet you.
No, thank you, Justine. And I really, really encourage you to come to Budapest and we can enjoy a coffee together.
That would be great. I would love that. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Justine.
Have a good night.
A wonderful afternoon.
Okay, bye-bye. To learn more about these episodes and access show notes, go to nextgenpurpose.com and choose podcast. If you like this episode, head to Apple Podcasts or your favorite platform to subscribe and leave us a review. Visit the Next Gen Purpose YouTube channel to subscribe to our EI videocast and give this episode a like while you're there. Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Next Gen Purpose and connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Justine_Reichman. Thanks for joining us.